at the risk of repeating myself, poor first half performance and a poor result. Now, I don't subscribe to the fact that the team at the bottom of the league are just going to roll over and let you tickle their tummy. I don't subscribe to that. I personally think that every team that's in the Premier League is in the Premier League for a reason, and every team that's in the Premier League can probably beat any team in the Premier League at some point on the day, because that happens. I mean, we've seen it. You know, we've seen Southampton beat Chelsea. We've seen Norwich beat Man City. You know, I mean, those are, you know, fairly shock results. But it happens, you know. And we've seen Wolves do really, really well, beat some good teams. But again, you know, out of the traps slowly, not applying any real pressure against a team that are desperate for the points at home, you know. Contrary to what a lot of people have been saying, and I guess I go against the crowd a little bit, mainly because this is a cold light of day review rather than a heat of the moment. But I didn't think that the first half was as bad as it's been. I didn't think it was great, don't get me wrong, but I didn't think it was as bad as it was maybe at Brighton, for instance, and certainly not as bad as Chelsea. And the reason why I say that is because we did have a few chances. We did kind of open them up a few times and make it look like there was possibilities there. But defensive mistakes cost us again. You know, Juan Foyth, who I still believe is a decent player. I don't think he's a bad player. He's a 21-year-old kid. He's a little bit slight in his build. He brings the ball out, and you know, he's very confident in the fact that, you know, he can sell a dummy, he can turn players. You know, he's confident from that perspective. But when you get clattered by somebody, not badly, but when you get clattered by somebody, he's expecting a foul there, which never came. And then, of course, you're opening yourselves up, carved right open down the middle, and there you go. The Norwich player did really, really well, placed the ball, you know, without a problem. Could Gazzaniga have got a bit closer? Could he have come out and closed the angle? Possibly. Could Toby have got a bit closer? Maybe. You know, he's backing off. You know, but it's hindsight, right? You know, it's what happens. You know, you can see it after the event. At the time, he's probably making a decision based on what he thinks is going on in his own head. So, you know, but yeah, so they get a goal, and of course, you're under all sorts of pressure, because in your own mind, psychologically, as a supporter, you're thinking, here we go again. So as a player going through that, you can't tell me they're not thinking to themselves, here we go again. We're not getting the rub of the green, or everything's going wrong, or whatever, because sometimes when things ain't going for you, they just ain't going for you. Ask an Arsenal fan, ask a West Ham fan, you know. But second half, in terms of positivity, let's look at some positives from that. Jose Mourinho makes a bold move. He says, right, that's it, we're going to have to go for it now. He takes off Jan, he takes off Foyth, he brings on Sanchez to give him a little bit more stability in the back four there. Pushes Sessegnon back a little bit and says to Lucas, do your stuff. And to be fair, in terms of positivity, you've got to say Lucas did his stuff, much the same as he did at Brighton. He was pushing forwards, he was attacking, you know, he was going for it, and I felt that he did very, very well. He brought some urgency into the team, he brought some intent into the team, and it felt a lot more like we were really, really going for it. I felt Lo Celso did okay. I thought he was quite good, got in and about them. Great, you know. I felt the second half, I felt there was real momentum going in our direction. And as you know, it pains me to say it, because ultimately Christian Eriksen probably had the best game that he's had for us since Villa, to be honest. First half, a little bit in line with everybody else, a little bit slow, a little bit sideways, 5 yards forward, 5 yards back, that kind of stuff. But certainly the free kick, you know, what can you say about it? I mean, fantastic free kick. As soon as he put the ball down, you kind of knew what was going to happen. And yeah, that's what Christian Eriksen brings to the team. And his celebration, as muted as it was, because everyone was on him, which shows that he is still part of the group, in my view. You know, everyone still thinks of him as a Tottenham player, and obviously a colleague and a guy that they like. They was all over him, and you could see that goal meant something to him. Now, whether that was a relief, I've finally done something for the team just before I'm off, or whether that was a finally I've broken my duck, maybe now I can get on with my performance, only time's going to tell. But you know, if Christian Eriksen can play like that and do stuff like that, then why wouldn't you want him in your team, you know? And I think that's the thing we've all been crying out for. I don't think anyone really wants Christian Eriksen to leave. I think everyone wants Christian Eriksen to be the player he was when he played previously, and he just hasn't been. So, you know, you can kind of see where that is. Another word for Harry Kane, who again worked tirelessly, in my opinion. I thought he did really well. Got us the penalty. Great running by Dele. Played the ball through perfectly, and for me, stonewall penalty. You know, he brought him downward, sliding in. You ain't gonna get far like that. If you're gonna slide in against Harry Kane in the penalty area like that, you're gonna give a penalty away. You know, and Harry doesn't miss many, does he? Let's be fair. You know, he bangs them in. He's so confident with his penalty taking. You know, you wouldn't bet against him. I know he has missed a couple, but you wouldn't bet against him to stick it in the back of the net, not by a long chalk. So yeah, so you know, and then of course Serge Aurier puts it in the back of his own net whilst coming across trying to cover. I don't think there's an awful lot he could have done about it. I think Toby's maybe trying to play it back to the keeper, and he's come across him and took it out of the keeper's view. I don't think there's an awful lot you can say about it, to be honest with you. It's unlucky. It's poor. That's not to say that Serge Aurier wasn't poor, because unfortunately, out of all of the players in the team, he would be, for me, the one player I would definitely like to see leave the club for all his attacking prowess, and that definitely was not on show against Norwich, because his crossing was appalling, but his defending is almost non-existent. He leaves huge gaps at the back. His positional play is poor, and so it kind of leaves us open to those kind of problems coming down that side. So it doesn't surprise me that Foyth was trying to step up and come out, because if we can see his positional issues and we can see the problems that he does cause us, then I'm sure the other players can see that as well. So, you know, anyway, I mean, it's just disappointing, but it is what it is. You know, a 2-2 draw away to the bottom team in the league doesn't sound like a great result, but in terms of results, it's still not a loss. It's still an additional point. You've got to take it, and you've got to build from it, essentially. You know, everybody is having a poor time. It's unfortunate that the Gooners weren't able to win the Cuddles Cup, the Cozy Up Cup, the Kumbaya Cup, as it's known in North London with the Chelsea boys. It's a shame that they couldn't do something there for us to help us out, but then you can never trust them to do anything for you, so why worry about what they're going to do? Just concentrate on your own results and see what happens. But ultimately there's still games to play, there's still points to win, so we just have to keep plodding on. A final comment, I guess, I don't think you can do a review without mentioning it, but VAR yet again ruining the game. Again, I said it before when it was against us against Brighton, and for us against Brighton, sorry. I say the same that it's against us for Norwich. Norwich were robbed, and I know there's all this talk about if it's over the line by a millimetre or an inch, it's still a goal if the ball crosses the line. But I think in terms of offside, I think it's slightly different from that, because you're talking about moving players. You're not talking about something as clear cut as did it cross the line, didn't it cross the line. You know, the fact is, if you are that level, you shouldn't be offside. If it's your armpit, you shouldn't be offside. You know, this is the offside rule is about gaining an unfair advantage. You cannot be getting an unfair advantage by a toenail's width. It's just bullshit, and I'm sorry, but it is. And the sooner they reflect and review and change the rules around VAR, the better, as far as I'm concerned, because for me it's just killing the game. So whilst I feel a little bit sorry for Norwich, I can't feel too much, because the same thing happened to us against Leicester, against Brighton, and I said when we got that great result with VAR up against Man City, there'll be times where we will rue that decision. And for me, I think VAR is in its current form is killing the game. So as far as I'm concerned, we move on to Southampton, which will be another very difficult game, make no mistake. And we just hope and support that we end up with a decent result there, and fingers crossed some other results go our way. But all you can do is worry about your own results and worry about your own performances. So let's keep our heads up, let's keep the faith, let's keep supporting the team, and as we say at the end of the day, up the Spurs.